Blackberry is a Canadian 2023 drama film about the rise and fall of the Blackberry phone. I know nothing about Blackberries or the phone or anything that happened, so I wanted to check it out regardless because it has a high score on Rotten Tomatoes, but also there's this sort of trend of nostalgic period piece drama films about something being created. So we've had Air and Tetris, and then this one is Blackberry. So, I want to check it out. Just, I have to. I'm Canadian. But this one is about Mike Lazaridis and Douglas Fregin. They run Research in Motion, a very small computer company, and they want to create a handheld phone, something, that can connect to a network. And they can't really get their project off the ground because they're very inexperienced and very, not very social. They're nerds, basically, and they're man children, basically. You see like the company, how they run it. Basically, most of their staff just play computer games and have movie night in the middle of the day, and they basically just hang out, creating modems. And they meet a shark, an executive named Jim Ballsillie, who is a little bit dissatisfied with his current job. So he decides to go all in with them, become co-CEO and help them sell their phone. So this partnership basically takes off pretty quickly and they become really popular. And the first half of this movie is basically their rise to power with some time skips, basically jumping through the different, eras of them making phones, creating phones and then solving problems as they get competitors or as the technology changes. There's some great dramatic, emotional parts in the middle, especially them trying to poach engineers from other companies, as well as stay above, different competitors. And basically every time they talk with Verizon wants to cut off their contract and they have to basically pitch to keep themselves alive. The movie is produced by a whole cast, so they do really well. Glenn Howerton, I've never seen Always Sunny, but he was really good in the movie. He's very, foul-mouthed and really steamrolls over people. Jay Baruchel's good too, but he doesn't look like the guy, but he has a great character arc. He starts off very green, very inexperienced. By the end, he's almost like a different person. And the director, Matt Johnson, he wrote, directed, produced, and stars as Doug. He's a little annoying. He kind of inserts himself a little bit too much at the beginning of the film. He doesn't have much to contribute. He's kind of like that guy that just always just says no. And he got really annoying. Obviously, it's a source of conflict, but he just seems to have no purpose but say, oh, no, we can't do that. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do anything. He just seems to hold everyone back. He seems very one-dimensional. But also, I think the biggest flaw of the movie is that it's a pretty solid script. I like the story, the acting, everything's fine. Production value is fine. The camera work is atrocious. It's they're going for a faux documentary, shaky cam kind of thing, and it looks really cheap. I don't know if it was a budget issue because this movie's only $5 million, but there's a really emotional, frenetic sequence where characters are having a conversation, and the camera's behind a window or something. Sometimes they'll just have something blocking, a face, and it just really awkward placement of the camera. But sometimes the camera work is solid and it's more better, and then it keeps switching back and forth, and it got really jarring because you don't have to have it's a very dated form of cinema verite, having the camera shake and be this is a documentary story where you're in the room, but it's you don't need that, especially if you're not going to stick with it for the whole film, because there's some other nice shots throughout the film. But sometimes it's just they have something obstructing the frame. Terrible cinematography. Not really Matt Johnson's fault, but he hired the guy and he probably said, let's do this, and just a really bad choice overall. Very distracting for the film. Everything else is great though. Pretty solid story. Very accessible for if you don't know anything about Blackberry. It sort of explains all the technical aspects. This is basically the social network, but light. So it doesn't have the super snappy dialogue of an Aaron Sorkin film, but it's still really accessible and enjoyable and dramatic, and you like the characters, and they're all based off real people too. So it's cooler that way. So I give Blackberry a 7 out of 10.